Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I think that if you look at qualifications, then I'm the least qualified person in this room who has been given this opportunity, in fact, the privilege and honor of addressing such esteemed, such very honestly inspiring achievers as you ladies here this afternoon. Gentlemen, and I have a very bad habit, I'm sure you've seen it at night with Arnab Goswami, of interjecting every time I feel somebody is going a little bit off track. Especially when it is said that women are scared to achieve. Many say women are scared to speak. And I often turn around and say it's not that we have a problem speaking, our problem is that we are rarely heard. And I'm here today not to preach, for you ladies are established enough, esteemed enough, have achieved enough, in fact, that I implore upon you that every public opportunity and platform that you receive to go out and guide women, irrespective of their field or their vocation, if you yourself can stand out and contribute through public speaking, I think lots and lots of young women will be encouraged to come into the field of science and technology and education. I said on this esteemed dais this afternoon that my only contribution, and I'm sitting amongst 3 edu leaders, is that I sent 2 kids to school, one being a son of 12 and the other a daughter of 10. And I had the opportunity of discussing the field of science and technology, though I'm only credited with crying on scene vis-a-vis the Tulsi character. I belong to a family where there is a mama who is into microbiology and a reader at a university, which is very esteemed and well known, but none of the ladies went into the technical field. When I looked at the data vis-a-vis science and technology and women per se at an international level, it was found that in India, as we speak, and there's a celebration that there are more women leaders today in politics as compared to science and technology, nothing could be wrong. Worse than this particular statement, because in terms of political enhancement and political office and political leadership, African nations are doing far better. In fact, even Afghanistan is doing much better than India is in terms of women and Indian politics. When it comes to science and technology, one finds that the entry point itself for young women vis-a-vis science and technology is filled with challenges. Today, while we celebrate the fact that women in all walks of life are coming forward, if you look at the data vis-a-vis all the IITs, IIMs, one will find that the ratio of men is to women in IITs and IIM varies from 14:1 to 10:1. And in top colleges and states, that ratio is 8:1. Which means that when entry-level challenges are not addressed, you are very rarely going to find women as departmental heads or institutional heads. One of the challenges that one finds when we talk to young women about science and technology and their desire to be a part of it, they say that जब आपको इंजीनियरिंग में जाना है तो उससे पहले पढ़ाई करनी पड़ती है, कोचिंग करनी पड़ती है, और माता पिता को लगता है कि तुम कोचिंग करके क्या करोगी, शादी करो, बैचलर्स की डिग्री लो और ससुराल जाओ. And one finds that statistics says that out of all the coaching institutes in the country, specifically with regards to science and technology, one finds that when it comes to training of women and young girls, only 17 to 20% of all these coaching institutes actually coach women to prepare for a career in science and technology. In fact, I had the privilege of going to the Bhabha Atomic Research Center on Women's Day a few years ago, and I was told कि पूरा हॉल खचाखच औरतों से भरा होगा, आप आइए और आप महिला दिवस पर सबको शुभकामना दीजिए. I went and the hall was full. And I asked them, मैंने कहा भाभा Atomic Research Center में एक पूरा हॉल भरा है औरतों से. So while the men on the dais were gleaming, the female scientist next to me nudged me and said, 75% of the administrative staff is women, but scientific staff is only 25%. Which is true, as is seen in many institutions. So there are many who tell us कि लड़की को पढ़ाकर और वो भी इंजीनियर डॉक्टर बनाकर क्या फायदा है. And to find an answer for that taunt, I actually looked back at a research which was published in 1996 by a gentleman called Subba Rao and L. Rainey, which actually quantified the benefits of educating a girl child. And in this particular research, a research of 72 nations were done. And there was a presumption, the base of the research was such that what are the benefits accrued to a nation by educating a woman? It was found that if in these 72 nations in the year 1975, if the governments in these nations had involved the entire administration in increasing the per capita income of every citizen, then the impact on the health of that nation was such that they could not stop infant deaths in that country. Then there was another research which said that what if in these 72 nations we doubled the number of doctors and qualified doctors the minute they increase, so shall decrease the number of infant deaths in such countries. Well, it was found that in 10 years from 1975 to 85 in these 72 countries, when you double the number of doctors, infant deaths came down by only 2.5%. Then the researchers went back and studied that what if in these 72 nations, in the year 1975, lots of money was poured into secondary education and higher education for women in those countries. And lo and behold, researchers found that in such nations where education for women was given top priority by the state, it was found that infant deaths came down by 64% in 10 years. Well, this was the data published in 1996. And in modern times, it was found that the United Nations Global Monitoring Report, which looked upon illiteracy challenges across the globe, found that when you educate women and when you bring down the gender gap in employment, then those nations, and 15 of them were studied, out of which one was India, in those nations where gender gap in employment, and specifically in terms of even science and technology, when the gender gap was narrowed, then the per capita income of that nation by the year 2020 is estimated to go up by 14 to 15%, and by 2030 per capita income in that nation is estimated to rise by 20 to 22%. That's why every man I meet, I tell him कि औरतों को पढ़ाने में न सिर्फ समाज को फायदा है बल्कि राष्ट्र को भी फायदा है. Hence, I'm sure that the wife that you paid respect to and wore the tie, I'm sure if you actually had given the opportunity, she would have also written you a very good speech. I will only say this. You are leaders in the field of science and technology. You are leaders in the field of education. My request to you is this. I come here today not to be a part of the Women's Day celebration. Very honestly, for me, every day is a Women's Day, because every day begins and ends with what the woman in the household is doing. I came here today out of pure lalach. I came here out of a sense of greed. Sense of greed because I know the ladies that I will meet today. I have never met this organization before in my entire life. Very honestly. This organization sent me an email, and the only catchphrase in that email was that we are actually coming together to honor women scientists, engineers, and leaders in the field of education. I came here today so that I can implore from this stage to every lady who's a leader in all these fields that please go out and mentor one young girl and make her a leader, and I'm sure she'll carry your legacy forward. All those girls who are not being trained to get into an engineering college, all those girls who are being denied a higher rank in an IT company need to be told that for the first time in human history, in Yahoo, Marissa Mayer was hired at the age of 37 when she was full-blown pregnant. That means a woman's reproductive health is also not a challenge, also not an intrusion into climbing the corporate ladder. Though we do celebrate women coming up in corporate India and presume that women in corporate India are doing much better, I'm sure Grace will also have this particular research because we've met on many occasions before. Corporate India and women are not doing that well either. I don't know about your company and what the pay structure is, but in corporate India, women are still fighting for equal wage for equal work. And the honest fact is that out of 1,500 companies that are listed, only 355 companies have women on their board. And out of all these companies, only 11% have women as CEOs. But the only problem there is that these female CEOs still earn less as compared to their male counterparts. So when we look upon opportunities where we are looked upon as equals, that is a day where India will not deny a young girl a right to be a scientist, a right to be a technocrat, because families will train her at the entry level and families will provide for her to have a better prospect as an engineer, as a scientist, as an edu leader. So in the hope that one day we shall all return to a hall 3 times the size like this, I leave you today, ladies. with my best wishes on a very, very happy Women's Day. Thank you.